Hey, so I've been preparing for my presentation at the University Club on the sometime I believe it's the 21st of May. Anyway, it's going to be about women's mental health and dementia. And of course, I talk about how important energy is to overall brain health, to get to the support and maintenance of brain function, especially the synapses, because of course, synaptic maintenance and synaptic function, that whole network requires about 80%, believe it or not, of the entire energy supply of the brain. That is crazy. Anyway, so I'm like really doing a deep dive into the female brain and just trying to understand the effects of hormones on the female brain. Estrogen plays a huge role. Now, this is estradiol specifically, plays a huge role on how the brain generates energy. Not so much with men, but certainly with women. And guess now, check this out. At the time of menopause, there is a 30% drop in energy supply in the female brain at the time of menopause. Now, some people react to this, or some women react to this a lot more adversely than others. Some people don't even have any idea what they have no concept of what hot flashes are or what brain fog is at the time of menopause. However, there are others who experience debilitating symptoms, everything from memory loss to irritability to mood swings, night sweats, and so on. But that was very interesting, seeing 30% drop in energy supplies. Again, some women do not perceive this drop. Maybe they're able to better compensate for it, or their brain is able to better compensate for it. But I thought that was really telling. And reading more and more. This is a book by what's her name, Lisa Mosconi, PhD. It's called The Menopause Brain. Really good book. She examines all these different things, and it's not just about menopause. She also talks about all the what she calls the three P's: PM, puberty, PMS, and pregnancy. And I'll add to that postpartum depression, um, perimenopause, and I think there's a third one now that I can't remember. Maybe I don't want to remember because it might get me in trouble with other people. Anyway, interesting thing. So here's some of the things I'm seeing with this. So during the periods, so the first half of the cycle when there's a lot more estrogen in the affecting the brain, it's a time of increased cognitive skills, verbal fluencies. The neurons are spreading out. They're making better connections. They're forming spines. They call them these branches. They call them spines. And they're reaching out and connecting with other neurons during the first part of the period or the 28-day cycle. The second half, the the effects of estrogen is and progesterone are waning. So they're saying there's decreased connectivity, and this may coincide with low mood, increased irritability, and headaches for some people. All right, so that's the period brain. Now, at pregnancy, the estrogen and progesterone may rise by as much as 40 times beyond usual levels. Also, there's oxytocin, which is the bond or love hormone during pregnancy. Over 80% of pregnant women perceive a decline in cognitive function. That's not so good. But again, the people, they're able to compensate for that, or they're not too bothered about it because they're busy expecting their child. Now, here's an interesting thing. Yeah, another thing. Research demonstrates that pregnancy is marked by extensive reductions in the brain's gray matter. Now, after birth, almost half of all new mothers experience forgetfulness, a narrowed focus, and brain fog for months after giving birth. And as many as 80% of all new moms experience some depressive symptoms within the first few weeks to months after delivery. It's to be expected. I mean, the turmoil in the whole hormonal everything, and just before birth, during birth, birth is a very stressful event. Very can be tumultuous. I mean, there's a lot going on. It's a shock to the system. And yes, when the baby is delivered, there's joy and there's happiness. But the turmoil that doesn't just end there. There's got to be a settling back in and readjusting to the new life without the baby, having had the baby for over 9 months. So it's a lot going on, and these things can affect the female brain adversely. Thankfully, thankfully, in most cases, it ends there. It doesn't carry on and lead to more severe mental health problems like severe depression and eventually dementia. In some people, it does. So we got to watch out for this. And this is why I uh, feel so strongly about the importance. And I think OBGYNs, obstetrics and gynecologists, the people who take care of the mother and child, they need to be very, very aware and up to date on the nutrients that the mother's body and brain need to function. You've heard me talk about this several times. The zinc deficiency is one of the reasons for that can lead to postpartum depression. Obviously, hormonal drops in hormones are a big problem. There are nutrients, there are supplements, nutraceuticals, if you like, that can be given to these people and that can help to them or to women who have just delivered and help them regularize their period and their hormonal balance. It's the easiest thing in the world to do, and it shocks me that that more healthcare professionals are not doing this. You do not need a prescription for some of these nutrients, and it's a matter of common sense. Now, on to perimenopause, which is the time period just before menopause, which is when there's this huge, like I said, turmoil. When the body is eventually losing its all ovaries, is in the last leg of reproductive health and reproductive function. By the way, menopause is just one day after the last menstrual period. 12 is the after 12 months, 365 days have passed after the lady has had her last menstrual period. That day, that makes 12 months, that is menopause, and it's just one day. Anything after that, beyond that, is post-menopause. So menopause, when you say someone is menopausal, it's not entirely correct. It's really post-menopausal. Got it? Or perimenopausal. But menopause is just one day. Right. So this is where we're really concerned because at the time of menopause or perimenopause, there's a decline, significant decline in estrogen levels. We talked about 30% drop in energy levels. Estrogen is what helps the brain generate energy. And now it does a lot of other things, but is what helps the brain, specifically the female brain, or especially the female brain, generate energy. Once estrogen levels drop, and in some cases, some women it drops a lot more precipitously than others do, and they really feel the consequences. So again, it's really important to manage these periods carefully and selectively and with a lot of due diligence, and not just assume that she's going to be okay or it's just in her head. Some of these transition periods can be extremely distressing, and not just distressing emotionally, but can be damaging to the brain. So it's very important. I'm hoping that we can hopefully spark a revolution, not just in the U.S. but also in third world countries, because obviously we don't have all the mental health specialists and psychiatrists and so on that can sit down and hold your hand and talk you through stuff. Many of these women are left to themselves. They're just asked to shake it up for the sake of the kids and the family and get back to work in the kitchen, which is certainly not what we're trying to say. So, but what I'm trying to say is that there's a lot, and I mean a lot, that can be done to manage a woman who is going through the perimenopausal period, especially those who are dealing with a lot of stress and symptoms. There's a way we can manage them effectively, and it really, really, really comes down to nutrients. That is the most effective way. I've mentioned a few things. Omega 3s are really important. Vitamin D is super important. Zinc is very important as well. So I'm putting together a complex called the non-negotiables, and I'm going to apply that to for women who are going through the perimenopausal period, so that they can navigate that period or navigate those waters more effectively. So stay tuned. I've rambled a little bit, but I really like this book, The Menopause Brain. She says a lot of good stuff. A very smart lady too. Educated in Italy, I believe, but good stuff. I don't know why I put but there. Forget the but. Italy is a fantastic country too. So talk later. Bye.